In the last video, we covered the difference between a quantitative variable and a qualitative variable. In this video, we'll cover the two types of quantitative variables and the two types of qualitative variables. The two types of quantitative variables are discrete and continuous variables. A discrete variable is a quantitative variable that has a set of possible values that can be listed out. Also, when a variable is discrete, there are gaps in between the possible values. Think of a variable like shoe size. A person's shoe size could be a number like 10, 10.5, 11, or 11.5, but nothing in between those numbers is a possible shoe size. A person's shoe size couldn't be a number like 10.2, 10.3, or 11.2. A continuous variable is a quantitative variable that has a continuous or steady stream of possible values. When a variable is continuous, there's a range of possible values, and anything along that range is a possibility. Think of a variable like temperature. There might be a lowest possible temperature and a highest possible temperature, but anything between those 2 points is a possible temperature. On a certain day, it could be 80.2 degrees, it could be 80.25 degrees, or it could be 80.259 degrees. When a variable is continuous, the number that you end up recording depends on how exact of a measurement you make. When you measure a person's height, you can measure a person's height in centimeters, millimeters, or in something even more exact. Let's look at some more examples of discrete and continuous variables. These variables are all discrete because each of these variables has gaps in between the possible values. A person could have 0, 1, or 2 siblings, but a person couldn't have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, or 1.1 or 1.2 siblings. A person could have a shoe size of 10, 10.5, or 11, but a person couldn't have a shoe size of 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, or 10.6. A person could spend 0 cents, 1 cent, or 2 cents, but a person couldn't spend a dollar amount like 0.003 or 0.012. Each of these variables is a continuous variable because each of these variables has a continuous or steady stream of possible values. I mentioned earlier that there might be a lowest possible temperature and a highest possible temperature, but anything between those 2 points is a possible temperature. The same thing is true for commute distance. There might be a lowest possible commute distance and a highest possible commute distance, but anything between those 2 points is a possible commute distance. A person could live 10.1 miles from work, a person could live 10.125 miles from work, or a person could live 10.1259 miles from work. Each of these other variables is also continuous. The two types of qualitative variables are nominal and ordinal variables. A nominal variable is a qualitative variable in which the categories don't have a ranking or don't have a hierarchy. When a variable is nominal, all of the possible categories are equal. The categories are just types of things. Gender, college major, and political membership would be nominal variables. An ordinal variable is a qualitative variable in which the categories do have a ranking or do have a hierarchy. An example of an ordinal variable would be grade level. You have freshmen, then you have sophomores, then you have juniors, and then you have seniors. Another ordinal variable would be socioeconomic status. You have lower class, middle class, and then upper class. Another ordinal variable would be highest level of education. The lowest level might be something like no high school. Then you would have high school, some college, college, and graduate school. So now we've covered all of the different types of variables. We covered the difference between a quantitative variable and a qualitative variable, and we covered the two types of quantitative variables and the two types of qualitative variables.